My administration is reclaiming America's heritage as the world's greatest spacefaring nation. The essence of the American character is to explore new horizons and to tame new frontiers. But our destiny beyond the Earth is not only a matter of national identity, but a matter of national security. So important for our military, so important, and people don't talk about it. When it comes to defending America, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space. Very importantly, I'm hereby directing the Department of Defense and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. That's a big statement. We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force, separate but equal. It is going to be something.
Did you guys know that the U.S. Space Force has an operating location and laboratory in Maui? I didn't know that. The Maui Space Surveillance System is routinely involved in numerous observing programs and has the capability of projecting lasers into the atmosphere. I didn't know that either.
So there was actually a direct energy weapons, for lack of a better word, lab facility on Maui, which there's only two in the United States. One is in Nevada and one is in Maui. Have you researched the microwave energy?
Of course, they've got their trillion-watt lasers, things like that. They always act like we don't have that technology yet, but we're working on it. Well, they're 20, 30, 40 years ahead of us, and they're just lying. Of course they've got it. This stuff, and this isn't happening from 5G or a plane passing over. We actually think, which sounds very far-fetched, we think they're coming from satellites because it's concentrated on an area for hours. Planes fly back and forth, and you wouldn't be able to hit at these angles. We don't think little drones are doing it, but I'm not ruling out any possibility. Matt, John, and I actually figured they're coming from satellites. When I was in my 20s, we had a president that was on national TV. He tells the world we're developing our Star Wars defense system. This is back in the 80s, worst president in U.S. history. He said that and we all laughed at him. We're not laughing anymore. They've been working on this for a long time.
My fellow Americans, tonight we're launching an effort which holds the promise of changing the course of human history. There will be risks and results take time, but I believe we can do it.
We'd like to do a tune for you. Actually, the tune was put together a little over a year ago, and the problem, well, there were several. But the main problem was what we was gonna call the tune. And after we had put the tune together and looked at it, like we decided we was gonna call it Real to Real. This is gonna be R-E-A-L to R-E-E-L. And that was certainly gonna be the max. And then we said, no, might be some people that don't get it. So we decided we was gonna call the tune From Real to Surreal. And we was gonna draw a lot of lines under surreal so everybody would know that that was the main one. Then we said, no, that may not get it. Then we decided that we were gonna call this particular idea From Shogun to Raygun. That covered everything that we wanted to talk about. Because see, the news was loose about the mandate. A mandate would be indicating a majority, an overwhelming majority, as a matter of fact, a landslide. A majority of such force that it entitled the holder of this mandate to change everybody's life 180 degrees. So we went down in the community down on 7th Street, told some of the brothers they had been a mandate for Raygun. And he said, oh yeah? What was the final score? So they said, well, 26% of the registered voters voted for Reagan. And they said they would have been more impressed if it had been 26% of the American people. And then we said, well, Skippy come in second with 21% of the registered voters. And that among all the other people who was running also at the same time, they gathered about 2% altogether. First thing that the brothers noticed was that 51% of the registered voters had voted for nobody. And as far as they were concerned, that indicated that nobody should be the president. That 74% of the registered voters had not voted for Reagan, which indicated a mandate in the other direction. And after a few months of dealing with Reagan and his administration, they have come back to me and said, yeah, it's true. Nobody is the president. See, a lot of folks believe that this was the first time we had ever done anything on Reagan. That's not true. We had done several things. We did a poem one time called The Bicentennial Blues. And we referred to Reagan as Hollyweird. Acted like an actor, acted like a Democrat, acted like a liberal. When he was acting like the head of the Screen Actors Guild, this is a position currently held down by a man named Ed Asner. During the late 40s, Ronald Reagan was the head of the Screen Actors Guild, and it was his job to defend people like Dalton Trumbo or David Susskind from the rages of McCarthyism. That was when they were looking for reds under the corners of every carpet. Decided he was going to act like a Republican. Acted like General Franco when he acted like governor of California. Heard the conservatives was on the way in and acted like one of them. Showed up in 1976 acting like somebody was going to vote for him for president. And showed up in 1980 acting like 26% of the registered voters was actually a mandate. Got all of us acting in this one, actually. The truth is that at least 26% of the registered voters don't want to deal with tomorrow. They are holding on to some image of America's past. But America has changed in the last 20 years from a producer to a consumer. And all consumers know that when the producer names the tune, the consumer has got to dance. That's the way it is. You don't believe it? You go downtown tomorrow, pick up a $4 piece of meat, give the man $2, and we'll see you in about 30 days. Because whatever's happening, the producer names the tune and the consumer has got to dance. See, it was all right when America was the producer. Hey, they was dealing with it. It was my way or the highway. But now that America is a consumer, they want everybody to deal with the same things they deal with. They don't know if they want to be Bob Dylan or Matt Dillon. They don't know if they want to be diplomats or continue to threaten everyone with a nuclear nightmare. John Foster Dulles ain't nothing but the name of an airport now. See, this used to be a country where everybody looked forward to tomorrow. And all of a sudden it became the way we were and the summer of 42 and them good old days, them good old boys, them good old days, them good old boys. And all it proved is that America was not ready to deal with today. They were looking for one of their cinema heroes from the 30s or the 40s to run up and save everything at the last minute. Because somebody always came to save America at the last minute. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes, nobody on base, down by 10, don't worry. Somebody will come to save America. Especially in B movies. You see, when I used to go to a movie as a young man, there was always 2 of them. There was the one that you was paying your money to see, and then there was the second one, which was like a B movie. This was the one that Reagan was usually in. And it would either be like an oat burner or one of them tremendously patriotic flicks or something with the monkey. Yeah, the monkey was all right. The monkey was cool. But what happened is that America looked back for someone from the 30s or 40s. They were actually looking for someone like John Wayne. But John Wayne was no longer available, and so they had to settle for Ronald Reagan. And it has given us all the feeling that we are somehow been cast as supporting or non-supporting characters in a B movie. Let me y'all. Come with us back to those inglorious days before heroes were zeros, before fair was square, when the cavalry came straight away and all American men were like Hemingway, to the days of the wondrous B movie. The producer, underwritten by all the millionaires necessary, will be Casper, the defensive Weinberger. No more animated choice available. The director will be Attila the Hague, frantically running around declaring himself in charge and in control, the ultimate realization of the inmates taking over at the asylum. The screenplay will be from a book called Voodoo Economics by George Papadoc Bush. A special introduction by David the Trojan Horse Stockman. The theme song of the very military, Macho Man. Mood music for saber rattling and selling war door to door. Remember, we're looking for the closest thing we could get to John Wayne. Cliches abound like kangaroos, courtesy of some spaced out Marlon Perkins. Never fooled us for minutes. We're looking around feeling as though it went from Hollywood to hillbillies, from liberal to libelous, from bonzo to birchite or born again. Call in the cavalry, disrupt this perception of freedom gone wild. Give them an inch and they'll take a mile. Nostalgia, that's what America wants. The good old days when we gave them hell, when the buck stopped somewhere and you could still buy something with it, to a time when movies were in black and white and so was everything else. Lon Chaney, our man of 1,000 faces, got nothing on Ron. Doug Henning will do the makeup. Special effects by Crazy Glue and Grecian Formula 16. Transportation furnished by the David Rockefeller Remote Control Corporation. Their slogan is, why wait till 1984? You can panic now and avoid the rush. So much for the good news. As Wall Street goes, so goes the nation. And here's a look at the closing stocks. Racism is up, human rights are down. Peace is shaky, war items are hot, the house claims all ties. Jobs are scarce, money is hard to come by, and common sense is at an all-time low with heavy trading. Movies were looking better than ever, and all of a sudden no one is looking because we all feel as though we're starring in a B movie. And we would have rather had John Wayne. Damn well probably would have done better if we'd have ended up with John Wayne. Help me, y'all. And you don't have to be in no hurry, and you don't ever really have to worry, and you don't have to think about how you feel. Just keep repeating that none of this is real. And if you're thinking that something's wrong, well, just remember that it won't be too long before the director, remember him, cause to sing, hey, this ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie. This ain't really your life, ain't really your life, ain't really ain't nothing but a movie.
This morning, new reports of roadblocks and confusing communication contributing to the chaos in Lahaina on the night of the deadly fire. Now, we've spoken to many people who say Front Street became a traffic jam. Video of the aftermath shows lines of cars charred when flames overtook them.
What the world's gotten to, for people like me, people like you, wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is, living in the new world. Whipping home